Very few mansions in England were born from disaster and chose to survive it. Longleat Mansion is one of them. Before 1580, this land did not represent power. It represented failure. Fire destroyed the earlier house here again and again. In 16th century England, fire was final. When an estate burned, families disappeared with it. Most never rebuilt. Longleat did. This decision alone separated Longleat from its time. Rebuilding on the same ground was not optimism, it was defiance. Elizabethan England was unforgiving. Religion divided the country. Royal favor shifted without warning. Noble families rose quickly and vanished even faster. Longleat was rebuilt with one lesson in mind: survival must be engineered. Stone replaced timber. Order replaced excess. The mansion was designed not to impress visitors, but to resist collapse, financial, political, and generational. Longleat was not rebuilt as a home. It was rebuilt as a system. From its foundations, Longleat declared a quiet truth of power. Those who survive disaster do not chase glory, they design permanence. Fire teaches a lesson few estates survive long enough to understand. Longleat learned it early. In 16th century England, destruction usually ended ambition. When estates burned, families retreated, sold land, or disappeared quietly. Longleat's response was different. It did not retreat from risk, it redesigned itself around it. Every rebuilding decision was shaped by memory of loss. Vulnerability was eliminated wherever possible. The new Longleat was not rushed. It was planned. Materials were chosen for endurance, not beauty alone. Layouts were organized for control, not openness. The mansion became less a residence and more a mechanism, one that could absorb shock without collapsing. This mindset distinguished Longleat from estates that relied on optimism or tradition. It accepted that disaster was inevitable, but collapse was optional. By treating destruction as information rather than defeat, Longleat transformed failure into strength. From that point forward, Longleat no longer depended on luck. It depended on preparation. And preparation, in the history of power, often matters more than privilege. Longleat was rebuilt during one of the most dangerous periods in English history. Elizabethan England rewarded loyalty and punished it just as quickly. Proximity to the crown brought opportunity, but it also brought suspicion, rivalry, and sudden ruin. Many noble families chased influence at court and paid for it with their estates. Longleat chose distance. Its owners understood that visibility was a liability. The mansion did not compete for attention, nor did it rely on constant royal favor. Power was exercised locally, quietly, and consistently. Land, not performance, became the source of authority. This restraint insulated Longleat from the volatility of court politics. While ambitious houses rose dramatically and collapsed just as fast, Longleat remained untouched. It did not need to prove loyalty publicly. It simply remained indispensable where it stood. By avoiding the dangerous theater of power, Longleat learned to survive it. The estate did not outshine its rivals. It outlasted them. Longleat was not designed to feel open or inviting. It was designed to manage people, space, and risk. Every corridor, chamber, and facade followed order. Symmetry was not decoration, it was discipline. In Elizabethan England, disorder inside an estate often led to collapse outside it. Longleat removed chaos from its design. Movement was controlled. Public and private spaces were separated. Authority flowed inward, not outward. This architectural restraint reduced vulnerability. Guests were impressed, but never empowered. Servants were organized, but never centralized. Power remained diffuse, difficult to challenge, and impossible to seize suddenly. Longleat's stone construction reinforced this strategy. Timber burned. Stone endured. Fire had already taught the estate that lesson. Architecture became defense. Where other mansions reflected ambition, Longleat reflected caution. Where others displayed wealth, Longleat concealed power. Its walls were not built to invite admiration. They were built to enforce permanence. Longleat never tried to look rich. That decision alone protected it. In Elizabethan England, estates collapsed not from poverty, but from excess. Noble houses bankrupted themselves to impress rivals, courts, and guests. Display invited envy. Envy invited scrutiny. Scrutiny often ended in seizure or ruin. Longleat avoided this trap deliberately. Its wealth was real, but restrained. Resources were directed toward land, maintenance, and continuity rather than spectacle. Expansion was cautious. Spending was controlled. Nothing was built to provoke attention. Power stayed embedded in ownership, not appearance. When economic pressure struck other estates, they sold land to preserve image. Longleat did the opposite. It preserved land and sacrificed vanity. This discipline allowed the estate to remain solvent through financial shocks that destroyed more flamboyant houses. Longleat understood a quiet rule of survival. Visible wealth fades quickly, but controlled wealth endures. The mansion did not shine brighter than its rivals. It simply remained standing when they disappeared. Longleat survived because individual desire was never allowed to outweigh structure. Many estates collapsed when heirs treated inherited power as personal freedom. Longleat rejected that model. Each generation understood that the estate did not belong to them, they belonged to it. Succession was controlled, not emotional. Land was not divided to satisfy ambition. Authority passed forward intact, guided by rules rather than personalities. This discipline prevented the slow erosion that destroyed countless noble houses from within. Where other families fractured over inheritance, Longleat remained unified. Individuals could fail, but the system could not. Personal ambition was restrained by obligation. Change was permitted only when it strengthened continuity. This approach transformed Longleat from a family residence into an institution. The estate did not depend on exceptional heirs or dramatic leadership. It depended on consistency. In the history of power, collapse often begins inside the family. Longleat survived by ensuring that never happened. Longleat did not rely on luck to survive. It relied on structure enforced by law. Many historic estates collapsed because ownership was absolute and fragile. A single bad decision, debt, or political mistake could dismantle generations of power. Longleat insulated itself from this danger through legal discipline. Ownership was controlled. Authority was limited. The estate could not be easily sold, divided, or sacrificed for short-term survival. Legal arrangements separated personal success from institutional survival. Even when individuals struggled, the estate remained secure. This distinction mattered. Longleat was protected from the most common cause of aristocratic collapse, internal failure. Law became armor, not to expand power, but to preserve it. Where other estates trusted inheritance alone, Longleat trusted rules. This allowed it to absorb shocks without breaking. Over centuries of political reform, financial strain, and social change, Longleat remained intact because it was never exposed to sudden collapse. Power does not endure by force. It endures by insulation. Longleat survived centuries of change because it never confused adaptation with surrender. As England moved from monarchy to modern state, many estates failed by choosing extremes. Some resisted change and collapsed. Others adapted too quickly and lost control. Longleat chose neither path. The estate adjusted slowly, deliberately, and on its own terms. Architecture evolved, but structure remained intact. Economic practices shifted, but ownership stayed unified. Longleat accepted transformation only when it strengthened survival, never when it threatened continuity. This restraint allowed the mansion to pass through civil war, industrialization, and social reform without fracture. Power did not vanish, it repositioned. Authority became quieter, less visible, but no less real. Longleat understood a critical rule of endurance. Change must be absorbed, not chased. By controlling the pace of adaptation, the estate avoided the shocks that destroyed others. It neither clung blindly to the past nor surrendered to the present. Longleat remained standing because it changed carefully and only when necessary. The modern era ended many historic estates. Longleat survived it. As aristocratic privilege declined and public scrutiny increased, estates that relied on dominance lost relevance. Longleat adapted by redefining presence without surrendering ownership. Power became less visible, but more secure. Authority shifted from control to continuity, where others sold land to survive changing economics. Longleat protected its foundation. The estate found ways to remain functional without dissolving its structure. Modernization was selective, never desperate. Every adjustment preserved the core system built centuries earlier. Longleat did not attempt to appear modern. It allowed modernity to pass around it. This restraint preserved legitimacy. The estate became accepted as heritage without becoming powerless. Influence did not disappear. It transformed into permanence. In a world where power is expected to announce itself, Longleat continued to exist quietly. That silence protected it. Survival did not require dominance anymore. It required endurance. Longleat Mansion was never built to dominate history. It was built to outlast it. Across centuries of fire, political danger, economic pressure, and social transformation, Longleat survived not through force or fame, but through discipline. It chose structure over ambition, restraint over display, and continuity over personal desire. While other estates rose loudly and fell violently, Longleat remained quiet and intact. Its survival reveals a truth often overlooked in history. Power does not endure because it is aggressive. It endures because it is protected. Longleat was not preserved by chance, nor by extraordinary individuals. It was preserved by systems designed to absorb failure without collapse. Today, Longleat stands not as a relic of the past, but as evidence of a strategy that worked. Fire could not erase it. Change could not dismantle it. Longleat survived because it understood something timeless. Power fades, structure remains.